a book or two over. Actually, I definitely went a book or two over. Part of my lore started with The Wizard of Oz. Thousands of women suddenly turned into dragons. That's how it starts. And she's like, that's crazy. I wouldn't buy an entire series after only reading the first chapter of the first book. That all went out the window with this series. And now we are at 201! 201 books on my physical TBR. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Welcome to a very exciting video because I haven't done one of these in a little bit. That is a book haul. I said in the beginning of the year that I was implementing this new rule to help me decrease my physical TBR, where if I read 2 books from my physical TBR, I could buy 1 book. Probably went a book or 2 over. Actually, I definitely went a book or 2 over. It was also my birthday last month, so I got some books for my birthday from my friends and family. I'm so excited to add them to our library. I also made a little bit of updates to our library. So these are our normal shelves, right? But then, bam, we have a whole new shelf over here ready to be filled up. It's the same Billy bookshelf as the other 2. With our Harry Potter bookshelf, we actually added these glass doors. I was able to finally build and add on these glass doors and I'm so excited about it. I did a Harry Potter Lego set. I think you see that in another video. We have our hobby shelf and our Harry Potter shelves and they're all secure. That won't get dust in them because I think that was the biggest thing where I wanted like a sort of display case. So that's this and I'm excited. 13, we have my lucky number, 13 books to show you in this video, which does sound like a lot. I bought only like 4, maybe 5 books from this. The rest I got as gifts, which I'm very thankful for. Don't judge me too hard. I'm excited to show you them and add them to our new library, and we're also going to be updating our Notion tracker in this video too. I have a Notion tracker. Basically it tracks all my books on my physical TBR and whether I read them or didn't read them. And every time I do one of these little book hauls, I can add on to that sheet. I also just took off my sweatshirt because I am dying. It is so hot now. We're in April. Hello, welcome. First we'll start with the ones that I got for birthday gifts. And then we have a very exciting series that I want to talk about as well. One of the most exciting ones. This is a painted edition, special edition of The Wizard of Oz. I think these are just like the Harper painted classics or something like that. My boyfriend got this one for me because actually he got me another book that I already had and then he's like, okay, pick another book, which one do you want? And I was like, this one has been on my mind for so long. It's just a beautiful edition of The Wizard of Oz and I am starting to build up my classics library. I thought this would make a really nice addition to it. There's like little quotes that are outlined in the paintings. I'm so excited for this. Part of my lore started with The Wizard of Oz. This has been my favorite movie for so long, longer than I can actually fathom in my mind. This has been one of my favorite stories. When I was little, I used to fall asleep to the soundtrack of the music from The Wizard of Oz, so this is just so exciting to finally add to my library. So that is the first one. Another one that I got as a gift is When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. I actually got this from my cousin and I was excited that she picked a fiction book because she's a big nonfiction reader, but she knows that I'm a big fiction reader. She got me this glass actually for my birthday, which I love and is so cute. She also got me a couple books and this is the first one. It's a fictional world but also I think has like political undertones to it. Thousands of women suddenly turned into dragons. That's how it starts. In this timely and timeless speculative novel, Kelly Barnhill boldly explores rage, memory, and the tyranny of force limitations. When Women Were Dragons exposes a world that wants to keep women small, their lives and their prospects, and examines what happens when they begin to take up the space they deserve. That sounds so good. I'm super excited to read this. I love books that have like a feminist take on them and just make you think more, like a fictional world that makes you think more about your real world. And this one sounds exactly that. So I'm super excited about this one. And then she also got me How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. I have heard about this book so much and I've been wanting to pick it up. She is a best-selling author doing a TV adaptation of her book. Her ex-boyfriend, he comes and works on the set. When secrets come to light, they must reckon with the fact that theirs was never meant to be any kind of love story. And yet the key to making peace with their past and themselves might just lighten holding on to each other in the present. What's really cool about this author is she actually is the writer and director of Beach Read film, which I love, and it is Emily Henry's, of course, adaptation of Beach Read. Yulin Kwong is the writer and director. Reading a book about an author whose book is becoming a TV show from an author who in real life is making a really famous book a movie is just a really cool sort of like intertwining of the fictional and the real world. My boyfriend got me a few books. One was Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. McConaughey. This is a thriller. There is this man, Dominic Salt, and he has 3 children, and they are caretakers of this tiny island off of Antarctica. They're the only ones left because people have just left because the sea levels are rising and the island might go under soon. So Dominic and his 3 kids are the last ones on the island. Rowan, a mysterious woman, washes up. They start nursing her back to health, but shortly after, Dominic thinks that Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she washed up on Shearwater Shore. Then he starts uncovering lies and tragedies of the past. It's a love story, but it's also a thriller. I haven't heard anything about this one. It sounds like a really cool concept. He's like very much a person who does research for hours before he buys something, so I know that he did a lot of research on this one and he really thinks I'm gonna like it, so I'm excited to give that one a try. And then he also got me I laughed so hard when I opened this. It was the Atlas Complex. So if you watched my last book resets of me doing a little Notion update and everything like that, I said that I had accidentally bought 2 copies of the Atlas Paradox thinking that one was Atlas Complex. Actually, you know what? Let me just play that clip. Play that clip from Past Sarah. The Atlas Paradox. This is the last. Wait. Oh damn. I already have this book. I can't believe I did that. The last book is the Atlas Complex, isn't it? I thought this was the last book. It's not. It's the second book. I also have the second book. I have the normal version. Okay, whatever. You know what? Whatever. Now we have 2 versions of the same book. But I did get the Atlas Paradox. It has the gold sprayed edges. It's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and it is the second book. I thought it was the 3rd book. I literally have the Atlas Paradox like right here. The second book in the Atlas 6 series. We're going to go ahead and put these books on my shelf. Alright, so now you know the past, and so he actually got me the Atlas Complex, which I told him that that whole situation happened, and he like remembered and decided to actually get me the 3rd book. So now I do have the completed trilogy, and I'm very excited that this is the correct last book in the Atlas series, and it's the soft cover, which is super important to me because the whole reason that I didn't buy it since it came out is because it was the hardcover, and the other 2 books, the Atlas Paradox and the Atlas 6, are both in soft cover, and it would drive me absolutely nuts if this book, the 3rd book, was not in soft cover and it was in hardcover and it was soft. I don't know why, it would drive me nuts. The Atlas 6 is the first book in the trilogy, and it is about 6 students who come to the Alexandrian Library, or basically like a rendition of the Alexandrian Library that's fiction. They are all harboring some form of magic. Oh, my camera's about to die! They're all harboring some sort of magic, like one's a naturalist, one's a physicist, that they just use the natural forces of the world to do magic. They engage in a basically Hunger Games type competition. People die, and whoever is the last few standing become the new like keepers of the Alexandrian Library. I really like the first one. I really feel like I had to pay attention because the concepts that Olive Blake discusses in at least the first one were just so not what I was expecting for a fiction book. They're very science fiction-y concepts. The way that she describes things are very in the realm of physics, and it took me a while to like get through the book because I had to keep on rereading passages because I literally didn't understand what she was saying. It was a different language to me. I finally understood, and it was Dark Academia, which I really like Dark Academia, so I wanted to continue the trilogy, and this is the next book in the trilogy. The next books I don't have any excuse for. I bought the next books. The first one I got is the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and for some reason I can never get the name right on this book. It is the last book, or the last book that's out right now, of the Dream Harbor series. I have the other 3 right here. I read the first 2 and I have to read Christmas Tree Farm and now the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. For some reason I kept on wanting to call it the Strawberry Shortcake Pancake House. And it's just, that's not what it's called. That's not what it's called, Sarah. I think it's because, you know, strawberry shortcake. I was thinking of strawberry shortcake, but I kept on wanting to call it that and it was just not correct. So when I was saying things and explaining to people, yeah, I'm looking for this book, they're like, I literally don't know what you're talking about. It takes place in the small town of Dream Harbor. I think that the town is really fun. The first book is like a Gilmore Girls fan fiction almost. The second book I liked better than the first book. It was really cute. And I have read the 3rd book and this is the 4th book. This series is very interesting because I don't expect any of these books to be like a 5-star, even more than a 4-star. The small town is so cute and seasonal that I feel like that is why I read these books. It's like reading a Hallmark movie is how people describe it, and I could totally understand how that is this series. So don't expect anything like life-changing if you go in to read this series, but it's just a fun time. It's a Hallmark movie, a good little palate cleanser. Iris, who is part of the friend group from the first book, she meets Archer and hires him as her new chef at her pancake house. And then Archer also has a daughter. Iris becomes her nanny too. Like, I don't really understand fully in this series. Relationships are just confusing to me. I don't know why. I feel like it happens. They happen so fast. Timelines don't always make the most sense to me in these books, but it's a good time. It's fun. All the books do have like a holographic element to it, and this one happens to be the strawberries, if you can see that. So I always have fun looking to see what the holographic element is. You can see it better down here with this little strawberry garland. That was our first book we got. We also got Legendborn by Tracy Denon. This is the special edition from Barnes & Noble with the sprayed edges, and I think it has an extra chapter or something. There's something else that makes it a special edition. At least it should. Can I rant for a second? It makes me crazy when people consider things that are special editions and it's literally just like they sprayed the edges. Like, yes, it's a special edition because they have sprayed edges and other books don't. But it's like, give me like an extra chapter at least, you know? This is the first book in, ooh, tripped over my cat scratcher. This is the first book in the Legendborn trilogy, or it's a 4-book series. I just have heard so much about this series. It's a young adult fantasy series, I'm pretty sure. And I've heard so much about it. I always look at it when I go to the bookstore and I never pick it up. So I finally decided to pick it up because it has some rewards from Barnes & Noble. Bree, her mom dies and then she doesn't want anything to do with her childhood home or childhood town. That was the last person that was keeping her there. Bree is 16, so she decides to go to a residential program, which is basically like a college, but for high schoolers. Her first night on campus, she witnesses a flying demon feeding on human energies. And she's like, that's crazy. She starts diving into like what this is, and she finds out that a secret society of so-called Legendborn students are the ones that hunt these creatures down. Bree's own unique magic is revealed through a buried memory, and you know the story evolves from there. And it just sounds like very YA fantasy, but super entertaining, and I am excited to read it. So, oh my goodness. It's okay, we're good. Then, listen, I thought I was getting better at this. I really thought I was getting better. I wouldn't buy an entire series after only reading the first chapter of the first book. That all went out the window with this series. I have read the first book. Well, no, I haven't. I read the first like 4 chapters of the first book in this series, and I decided to buy the whole thing. God of War is coming. It's in the mail. Bought the whole Legends of God series, guys. With the sprayed edges. And I honestly think that I don't know what comes over me, but when a sprayed edged book, like these sprayed edges, because this is like a new cover, a new bloom cover, and I've seen these covers, like these sprayed edges, but then I went to Target one day and I could not find. Okay, sorry, my timer died. I have been thinking about this series for a few months. I've always seen it in the bookstore in Target when I've gotten it, specifically these bloom sprayed edge versions. I've just been literally looking at it for like a month or 2. I just didn't pick it up because I was like, you know, I have so many books on my physical TBR. When I get through those books, I can buy a new series and start a new series because I also have so many series I'm in the middle of. Just randomly. I don't know what got into me, but I was on Kindle Unlimited one day. It was super late at night and I was just scrolling through Kindle Unlimited because I had just finished Leather and Lark, which was really good. I really like that book. This one came up like the first one. And I was like, you know what? Let me just read the first couple of chapters. I've been thinking about God of Malice for months now. And then I think something happened where it was so nostalgic to my brain because if you know how this book starts, it's wild. Listen, this is a dark romance series. Most of these characters should be locked up. It's a dark romance series. I do love a good dark romance. I think they have a time and place. This is dark. The beginning says, I caught the attention of a monster. If that's any indication of how this book starts. I read the first few chapters and it was so nostalgic to me in the sense of it reminded me of my Wattpad days. I was literally late at night in my bed, my boyfriend was sleeping, and I was scrolling on my Kindle Unlimited and I started reading these few chapters and it was so reminiscent of the times that I was in my bed at night on my phone in like middle school or high school reading these dark Wattpad style books on Wattpad. I did not need to be reading the stuff that I read dark romance wise on Wattpad at that age. If you were a Wattpad era reader, I feel like you know what I mean. It's just like that nostalgic feeling of you know you have school the next day, but they just put out a new chapter, so you need to read it. So you're just reading at night, trying not to let your parents see you're on your phone. That's how this felt. Catapulted me into being like, you know what, let's start this series. So then the next day, I went to Target thinking I'm gonna get this book, and they didn't have the sprayed edge version anymore. I bought these two at Target too, and these were the last two sprayed edges on the shelf at Target for like these books. Something in my brain, this is how they get you. This is how the special editions get you, because I am so weak when it comes to, oh my god, there's not gonna be another one and I want the sprayed edge version, and I need to buy them now because they're not gonna redo the sprayed edges. It's how I felt about Assistant to the Villain. I saw the sprayed edges at Target for so long and then I just didn't. I was upset that I didn't get the sprayed edge version anymore. I couldn't get the sprayed edge version anymore. It wasn't available. Randomly that popped up on my shelves like months after the sprayed edges had been gone, and I picked it up. I had to, and that's how I felt with this book. I was like, Sarah, if you want the sprayed edges, you need to do it now. So I bought these two books, and then I ordered these two books on Amazon, and I was gonna get God of Malice, the first book, the one that I'm actually reading right now. I was gonna get it on Amazon or on Target, and I looked, and there was none available in the Barnes & Nobles or any Targets or even on Amazon. There was no more deluxe sprayed edge edition. It was just the standard edition with no sprayed edges. That just did something in my brain where I was like, oh my god, I missed my chance. I missed my chance to get the God of Malice sprayed edge. I've only read 4 chapters of this book. I don't even think that it's gonna be like one book that I'm gonna be obsessed with. I don't know what happened, but the sprayed edges, they got me on this one. Then yesterday, because I had been like stalking these sites to be like, where's the God of Malice sprayed edge edition? And yesterday, randomly, I searched on Target in the morning, and they had 1 left at my local Target. It's on the Target app. 1 left in stock. Pick it up now. So I immediately set in-store pickup, and I picked this book up. Listen, I was so excited. I felt like I beat the system where it said there was none left anywhere, and I found one at my local Target, and it was the last one. So there's a very long-winded way of saying that's how these books got me, because this book, this God of Malice book, put me through such a time trying to find the sprayed edge versions. I just needed to get all of them. And the God of War, like I said, is coming. It's in the mail. But yeah, that's a very long-winded version of why I have an entire series now in this book haul, and I said I wasn't going to be doing that anymore. So we have God of Malice, God of Pain, God of Wrath, God of Ruin, God of Fury, and the last one that's coming is Pink, and it's God of War. The last few books that we have in this book haul. Let me know if you read these books, because I am scared. Dark romance, it has a time and place. It's not my like genre that I go to. My friend loves dark romance. I just don't always trend towards dark romance. That's the Legacy of God series. Those are all the books that I got lately. They're right here. I don't want to pick them all up because I'm going to drop them all. I am so excited to put them on my shelves, especially my new shelf, and my laptop, because we have to add them to our Notion. If you didn't watch my other book resets, then you wouldn't know that I have a Notion page that tracks my physical TBR, and I've been updating it every time I got new books. I really want to make sure that I get through a decent amount of my physical TBR. I really do. This little page, I downloaded this page from Etsy. You can see my ring light. All of the books, their authors, and whether I read them or not. And this is how I found out that I have 100 282 books on my physical TBR. We are going to go ahead and add these new 13 books. $200 books. We have 200 books officially now that we have to read. We have fully added all of those books, and now we are at 201 books on my physical TBR. I did read some of these, so I need to update it. We're gonna put these away. Let's find them new homes on my shelves. I think we're gonna let Gods of War series be my new dark romance shelf. Longer than I thought it would because I had to rearrange other books to make room for the new books. That is the end of today's video. That is today's book haul. I am very excited to be having this new bookshelf and filling it out. That's gonna be exciting. We have our new little dark romance shelf over here that the Legacy of God series started, and these books I already had, but I added them in here. We added some up here. And then we added some just like interspersed throughout the rest of our bookshelves. That is it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.